You're a go-getter. When you have a problem, you fix it. When something can be better, you improve it. But what if you could unleash the full potential of how you work, how you create, and how you think? In a world on the brink of an AI revolution, you need a PC that unlocks your full capabilities. Introducing the Intel Core Ultra processor, the first truly AI-ready PC. The Intel Core Ultra processor utilizes 3 engines to take full advantage of the AI experiences of the future: the CPU, the GPU, and the NPU. The CPU, or Central Processing Unit, enables fast response AI workloads, which are low latency, such as noise suppression, to help deliver crystal clear audio and communication in every video conference call, no matter where you are. The GPU, or Graphics Processing Unit, is used for high throughput tasks, such as generative imagery. This engine is ideal for AI accelerated digital content creation, so the only limit to what you can create is what you can imagine. And the NPU, or Neural Processing Unit, is ideal for low-power sustained AI workloads, such as speech-to-text tasks, instantly transcribing all of your meetings so that you never miss a beat, even when you get distracted. These engines work in tandem to deliver the best performance across AI workloads today and in the future. And with Intel's AI acceleration program, which not only enables an extensive catalog of software, but also provides a wide range of developer toolkits, Intel is able to deliver the most holistic AI experience ever on a PC. The future of the AI PC starts with the Intel Core Ultra processor, but doing something wonderful, that starts with you.
Thank you everybody for making the time today, and welcome again to Lenovo Innovate 2024. My name is Jack Huang. On behalf of Intel, I cover PC products for the Asia Pacific region. My partner in crime covering the Lenovo team here, Diana, sitting in the back. And thank you very much for making the time today to join our deep dive in the Intel Core Ultra platform. You know, the Core Ultra is, if you folks attended the keynotes yesterday from George Hago from Intel, Belinda from Microsoft, and Team Lenovo, we're at an inflection point right now towards a new revolution as far as PC capabilities. George mentioned 20 years ago, that was the advent of when the internet exploded, Windows XP launched, and we launched Centrino in partnership with OEMs such as Lenovo. Now, fast forward 20 years to now, AI is everywhere now. And we're launching Core Ultra brand with Lenovo. Microsoft is launching the Copilot button and a new swath of capabilities that brings with that as far as AI PC capabilities. The PC revolution has been going on actually for decades. I've been in Intel for 17 years, and I've gone through my share of seeing how the notebook has evolved over these two decades. And it kind of mirrors in terms of where we're at from a company standpoint. As Pat Gelsinger came back to Intel 3 years ago and ushered in a new, faster method in terms of process technologies where we're putting in 5 nodes within 4 years. And the Intel CCG client PC roadmap is in the midst of every single step of the way. Last year, the last 2 years, 12th gen as well as 13th gen were based on Intel 7. That's when we introduced hybrid architecture, where we had what we used to call big core, small core, now we call performance cores and efficiency cores. And now Intel 4 is the new node that's building, that Intel Core Ultra is based on, and that's where we introduce disaggregated architecture, where we bring together collectively 4 pieces of tiles into one package, including a CPU tile, a new integrated graphics tile based on ARC, a brand new NPU neural processing unit, which is driving a lot of the AI workloads, and then also a low power SoC island, which adds an additional 2 efficiency cores towards offering up to 30% power savings in certain workloads. So this is, for me, is a big journey. 20 years ago, we introduced Centrino with partners such as Microsoft as well as Lenovo because people loved having laptops, but they loved taking it with them everywhere. The Centrino unplugged the Ethernet cord and let you stay connected when you were walking about. Then in 2010, people realized, hey, I love taking my notebook everywhere with me, but the problem is that it's too heavy, it's too thick. And that's when we worked with our partners to introduce the Ultrabook, where we shrink the laptop flattened it and lightened it. And Lenovo's X1 Carbon is a really good example of that. That's done really, really well since 2010. Then in 2015, people loved having the tablet touch button, touch interface. And that's when we introduced the two-in-ones. And our wonderful partners such as Lenovo, yesterday if you folks checked out their showcase, the Lenovo Yoga is far and away the best-selling convertible two-in-one of all time over the past 10 years. And the whole Lenovo Yoga lineup there is based on the Core Ultra. And then in 2020, unfortunately, COVID hit, and everybody was learning from home, working from home, gaming from home, and realized that the two things that you could not live without, you had to have your PC and you had to have your smartphone. But everybody wish a PC were better responsive, more responsive, had all the battery life like a smartphone, and that's when we introduced the Evo platform. And then now with ushering AI everywhere, this is where we introduce the Core Ultra brand to make PCs much more intelligent, much more customizable, as well as personable. And again, every step of the way, every 5 years, we see a huge tidal wave of evolutionary and revolutionary innovation and change in the PC notebook industry. And this is no different. So Intel positioned to lead the client AI transformation. Why? We think there are three really good pillars where Intel and our partners are really intersected and well positioned. The first one is creating intelligent platforms to transform your experience. This is why we're here to talk about the Intel Core Ultra brand. Number two, galvanizing the entire ecosystem to deliver AI at scale. So it's one thing to have the hardware as far as the yoga platforms, but it's the other thing to have all the ISVs working together with all of us to be able to have those optimized applications so you and I can enjoy those applications and new features and capabilities. And then the last one is delivering transformation architecture of the future. Just talked about earlier as far as codenamed Meteor Lake Intel Core Ultra, where it's based on Intel 4 with the brand new first time ever that we did disaggregated architecture, bringing in 4 different compute tiles into it. So AI PCs, ushering AI PC. A lot of people have been asking the last 6 months, hey, Intel at CES, at your launch in December 14th, you guys have been talking about wanting to ship over 100 million AI PCs by the end of next year. George talked about it yesterday as well. Well, what is an AI PC? We get asked that, Microsoft gets asked that. The OEMs and retailers are all very excited to have a catchy new phrase, AI PCs, to help sell their new products, because now that COVID is over, 2020, 2021, now a lot of those laptops that people bought during COVID are now 4 to 5 years old and they want to refresh. This helps them sell. So what is an AI PC? Well, we've been working with Microsoft for the past couple months to co-define a definition that we can share with our partners as well as the public as far as defining what an AI PC is, and came down to three quick bullets. Number one, being able to offer Copilot, the Copilot key, and then having a new NPU, CPU, and GPU powered in the silicon. So when you bring together a Lenovo Yoga device with Copilot as well as Intel Core Ultra brand, that brings all of these factors together in terms of what an AI PC is defined as. So now that we know what an AI PC is, the next question is, well, what can an AI PC do for me? Well, in fact, can do many things that we couldn't do before, and do many things better than we could do before. Whether it's better intelligent collaboration, noise suppression on the back end for Teams or Zoom, whether it's optimization in terms of the imagery as well as movement quality, where your fingers don't disappear anymore, your ears on Zoom or Microsoft Teams, whether it's creating your own personalized content on the go. Yesterday, during George's keynote at the end, he showcased a young female, Sandra, heading to her friend's birthday party, and she forgot it was a birthday party and had to create a one-year collage of the pictures and experiences on PowerPoint that she could load up at the bar and the club so that they could celebrate a party, and she did that on the Uber ride over. Those are the kind of intelligible experiences and applications that we didn't have before, or we had them but they didn't perform as well, or they were much more power hungry. But now bring it all together in terms of performance, capabilities, features, as well as power consumption. AI PC can do anything and everything. So let's dig a little bit under the hood as far as Intel Core Ultra processors. The couple main takeaways, just to echo upon what George mentioned earlier. The first one, obviously, we're smack dab in the middle of the 5 nodes in 4 years based on Intel 4, our latest node processing technology. Number two, the first time that we're ever building in disaggregated architecture within the silicon, the package. We're bringing the new NPU, neural processing unit, to drive AI workloads as well as up to 8x the performance of previous generation. We'll bring in discrete graphics capabilities with ARC graphics and offering up to double the graphics performance capabilities. And then obviously beyond the CPU, Intel is also a platform technology with Thunderbolt as well as the world's fastest connected wire capability throughput, and then also Wi-Fi 6E, which is integrated into the silicon. And what does that mean in terms of core ultra capabilities? Well, I talked about it a little bit earlier, in terms of big cores, small cores, performance cores, efficiency cores. We have a new low power SoC island offering 2 more efficiency cores, which can offer in certain workloads up to 30% power savings. One of the media influencers asked me, what are some of the applications where this applies? And Netflix playback is one example, where with the new low power island, we can do playback at 1150 milliwatts versus without the low power island, it was 1450 milliwatts. So roughly about 25% power savings on the SoC. Another one is integrating ARC graphics in and bringing in double the graphics performance, which we'll showcase in a little bit. And then the new NPU neural processing unit offering in certain applications up to 8x the performance gains versus previous generation for 13th gen. And we mentioned the video earlier as well as in George's keynote yesterday in terms of what happens is that as we're introducing the new NPU, we're also realizing that as we test all these hundreds of applications in ISVs, we realize that a lot of them are content creation, image rendering, video rendering, and it's not just leveraging the NPU. We're seeing a lot of these applications leveraging CPU, GPU, and NPU all together at the same time. And I'll show you guys some examples of that. But really what we're finding out is that the different XPUs, whether it's C, G, or N, have different efficiency applications in terms of where they perform best and are optimized best. The previous video talked about the NPU for sustained workloads, such as language to text, CPU for fast response, etc., low latency, such as background noise. And then obviously the heavy workloads, such as image as well as video rendering, would be where the GPU comes into play the most often. And as far as AI performance creators, I talked about the new NPU capabilities up to 8x the performance versus previous generation on various different applications. And this is just a small subset of applications that we've tested in our labs versus previous gen and competition. But at the end of the day, working with Microsoft to define the definition of AI PC and releasing it out, bring hardware and platforms, new platforms such as a Yoga with Lenovo to the market. It's one thing to have the hardware ready, but it's the other thing, the software thing, that's just as important. And being able to bring everybody together, the ISVs across the world, into one umbrella. The real killer app at the end of the day is choice. Being able to leverage the entire family and suite of applications. So having said that, as far as ISVs, we're going to go through a couple of them today. Last winter, we had an event, Pat was in Taipei, and we had CCG client executives on stage with the CEO of Cyberlink. Cyberlink is a content creation, photo director application ISV house in Taiwan, and their CEO came up on stage and showcased on Core Ultra an example of utilizing the GPU. And this brings me back, I'm probably older than most of you here, but 20 years ago I was in graduate school. And when I was applying to my job at Intel now, so I've been here 17 years at Intel, back 20 years ago when I was taking my photo and resume pictures, I was sick with the flu, so I couldn't take these pictures with my classmates. And I had to miss a long weekend to go back to the photo studio to take it to append onto my resume as well as online resume book for our class. Well, these days, things are much easier with an AI PC. I could just put on a dress shirt, take a picture against the wall, and then professionalize it if I don't like it and customize it. Well, when I was applying to Intel, I might want a different color. Intel is blue, so I might want to change the color instantaneously for different companies and have different resume photos. But I would have to go to a professional studio and spend money and time getting there to be able to do it 20 years ago. These days, all the customization's instantaneous. One flavor, one-stop shop, takes a couple seconds to render, and it's instantaneous and really saves me time, saves me money, and makes me much more productive and gives me more options than I had before. If I'm an SMB and I'm launching a family business as far as incense oils, same thing. In the past, I would have to go to a demo studio with different backgrounds to take my pictures and have different flavors of it for different websites if I'm selling on Amazon or what have you. And now you can customize the background instantaneously with the background. You don't have to spend all that money and time. And you could do it for different websites with generative AI. All this is mainly focused on the GPU rendering, so leveraging that as far as generative AI applications. So this is a good example of what we use. And then since Avatar came out about 15 years ago, everybody wants an avatar. So how fast it takes to do it with an AI PC, seconds versus before. One of the things that I find happy / semi-annoyed sometimes is when I have Teams calls with my coworkers, some of them just come online and without turning on the camera and they put their avatar on. So literally I spent weeks not seeing my coworkers' faces, but I will see their avatar and talk to the avatar. So, okay, so that's one example here. And one of the other examples that I also want to show you folks is beyond other applications. So Audacity is a good example where, I got a 6.5-year-old son, he's about to turn 7. He's big into Minecraft, he's big into Roblox, and he's just starting to learn TikTok, which I never had as a kid. And he's opening up for his next birthday party, he wants to do his own personalized music video. And one of the applications that we have to share is Audacity, where, for example, I'm gonna pull up the song Josh Woodward, Effortless. I get asked all the time, why not Taylor Swift? Well, there are Taylor Swift songs, there are licensing and copyright, issues with that. So we're gonna go with Josh today and play 10 seconds of this. So you got the vocals, you got the drums, you got the background music in this 10-second segment. So this is mainly GPU driven. My son thinks that he's a great singer. He only needs the background side, the background drums, as well as background music. He doesn't want Josh's vocals. So he says, Dad, let's turn on Intel's OpenVINO plugin tool and open software, and let's do music separation. I only want to separate the instrumental vocals. It would take a little bit longer, but I could get even more specific and separate out the drums and the bass in the background. But let's just go with the two. And it's mainly GPU driven for those 10 seconds. And it takes about 4 or 5 seconds. And I tell my son, hey, 20 years ago, I would have to go into a music studio, pay by the hour, buy a workstation to do this, cost thousands of dollars and many hours to render. Now you got it in 5 seconds, buddy. So, and then we'll go through this and test it and see how it did, 5 seconds. So we'll go here and then do solo. And then now we have the background music he wants, parsed out the voice. So we're good here. This is what he wants. So we'll turn that off and then we'll go to the vocals. And let's say he sings the music and he realizes he's as bad of a singer as me. And he wants Josh's voice back. So we'll go here. But you can't exchange your dignity. Okay, so we took the song, spliced it up. We could also take the drums, we could also take the bass, etc. But we're just going to do a simple version here. And now we have the music part done for my son, depending on how he wants to use, whether he wants to use a voice. And then next, we're going to open up Wondershare, which is an image content creation video capability. And he wants to have his own voice on Josh's song, and then himself dancing in the background, and then we're going to introduce some background effects to his dancing. And one of the things you're going to see here, and I want to share this with you guys, which is cool, is I'm going to play this, and I'm going to turn up the task manager here in a bit. So right now, a lot of these applications, like on Audacity, it's going to leverage the GPU down here. What you're going to see here is that for a content creation application like this one, when he starts dancing, it's going to leverage your CPU and GPU. Once we start bringing sustained effects such as background motion and blur and shadows, that's going to be leveraging more of the MPU, and you can see the GPU and CPU utilization come down and the MPU utilization come up, but they're going to be working in harmony to be able to produce this kind of video. So let's play this and let's keep this usage moniker up. So you can see here the CPU as well as the GPU are running each about 30 to 40%. And then in the top right corner, the MPU is at 0% right now. Now you can see the flash in the background, the MPU suddenly jumped to 25, 28, 30%. And you can see the other two come down. And they're all working together, roughly 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 when you start creating these apps. So again, different ISVs are optimized towards different usages of the XPUs, and this is a really good example of that. Okay. And then I'm going to go here next. So we talked about 3 of the applications, but in reality, we're optimizing over 100 this year. And we could go on and on. We have a catalog of all these online at intel.com/AIPC that you could download. But at the end of the day, we spend millions of dollars bringing together these applications, as well as investing in NRE awareness, optimizations in-house towards optimizing these AI applications in what we call the AIPC Acceleration Program. And really, we're targeting over 100 ISVs this year, over 300 features, and we have over 3x the software library of where competition is at. So this is really an area of strength where Intel is leading. A lot of people don't know this, but Intel is one of the largest software companies in the world in terms of software engineers. We have thousands and thousands of software engineers. A lot of them focus on optimizing these ISVs, operating systems, BIOS, etc. And this is a really good program to get everything towards a one-stop shop to get this done and continue to grow. And if you folks have the chance to take a look at the press release from yesterday we had the AI Summit in Taiwan concurrently, where we launched a program on top of this to bring in smaller localized ISVs into this program, and check it out online, but the press releases just came out. Again, we're looking to grow and make this even more localized, which is fantastic. So I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the graphics capabilities, because what we've also done with Intel Core Ultra is bring in the ARC branded graphics, discrete graphics capabilities, where versus previous generation 13th gen integrated graphics, you're going to see up to 2x the performance gains on many different popular games. And this is a good example of a popular game where what the Intel XeSS feature does on the ARC graphics is it tones down the image resolution of the main characters, etc., and then it offloads the GPU to bring it back up within the same thermal envelope. And what happens is that it speeds up image processing, but also it gives you up to 3x the frames per second. And the right side is running on Intel Core Ultra, the left side is on 13th gen, previous generation. And you can see that the frames per second is roughly about 3x versus previous generation. And then as far as the Intel Core Ultra processors, there are about a dozen process SKUs here, roughly from a brand perspective, Intel Core Ultra 5, 7, as well as 9, up to 14 cores, plus 2 cores on the SoC low power island. And you're going to find various flavors of this through the different wonderful Lenovo Yoga designs out there. So again, quick wrap here, main takeaways as far as Intel Core Ultra. Big part of the latest Intel node for Intel 4. First time we're doing disaggregated architecture. First time we're bringing the new MPU. First time we're integrating Intel Arc graphics into the GPU. And fantastic design and product, and we look forward to shipping over 100 million units of these guys through next year. Thank you very much for coming to Lenovo Innovate this year.